Come, lads of the best, let me tell of those heroes from the bold IDF. May their deeds be remembered long after the news. Let's drink to the genius of those genocide Jews. Let's drink to the genius of those genocide Jews. They're the masters of bombing, talking 2,000 pounds. Just one of them babies, your whole world tumbles down. Apartments and churches, hospitals, schools. Let's drink to the genius of those genocide Jews. Let's drink to the genius of those genocide Jews. They take out civilians with tanks and with guns, the slickest of killers under God's sun, with drones and with snipers, with tanks and air crews. Let's drink to the genius of those genocide Jews. Let's drink to the genius of those genocide Jews. In a class by themselves, they kill children for fun. When it comes to dead mothers, they're second to none. Let's give them the credit where the credit is due. Let's drink to the genius of those genocide Jews. They got to get dressed up, it's a burning desire. First kill the women, then wear their attire. It's their specialization, they just can't refuse. Let's drink to the genius of those genocide Jews. Let's drink to the genius of those genocide Jews. They put on women's clothing of the intimate kind, then film each other from the front and then behind. They get all excited, they think that this stuff's cool. Let's drink to the genius of those genocide Jews. Let's drink to the genius of those genocide Jews. If you are straight-laced, you're gonna get a shock. They take great pride in it all over TikTok. They wear women's underwear of all different hues. Let's drink to the genius of those genocide Jews. Let's drink to the genius of those genocide Jews. In a class by themselves, they kill children for fun. When it comes to dead mothers, they're second to none. Let's give them the credit where the credit is due. Let's drink to the genius of those genocide Jews. Let's drink to the genius of those genocide Jews. To be taken as a prisoner is a fate that's worse than death. Sodomy's the favorite of the bold IDF. To put this stuff in a novel, there's really no excuse. Let's drink to the genius of those genocide Jews. Let's drink to the genius of those genocide Jews.
Let's drink to the genius of those genocide Jews from Duck Street Studios in London. Good Friday morning. My name is Michael Stewart Heath, and we're going to open our Friday with a prayer. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. And I will put it up here for us. Saint Michael, the Archangel, defend us in battle, be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray, and do thou, O Prince of the heavenly host, by the power of God, thrust into hell Satan and all the evil spirits who prowl about the world seeking the ruin of souls. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So happy Friday. Might do a bit of a stream of consciousness today. Still looking at 0 viewers on YouTube. I'm only streaming on YouTube. I will, as time goes on, start to stream live on Facebook and probably also at michaelheath.tv. If time permits, I will archive these live streams at michaelheath.tv. Right now, they're only available on YouTube as archives. But once I start getting some viewers, I'm looking forward to having conversations on my live shows. I can see, if you're watching on YouTube, your comments in StreamYard, which is the platform that I'm using to produce this 30-minute daily live stream. Mixed feelings about moving on. Just a lot of, I've never aspired to be a celebrity, a television celebrity. For 20 years, I did interviews in the press before, well, as the internet was becoming a thing, and just never got excited about money or fame or power. So I always enter into this space with a little bit of trepidation, but at the same time, I feel drawn to it because I want to share my views and I want to hear other people's views. I'm curious what you think. And so glad for the internet that has provided me, since it came around, with an opportunity to go deep with my curiosity. And it is that I attribute my entering the Catholic Church to being curious. I think part of being curious means being willing to consider ideas that exist outside of what we know, what we already know, what we're comfortable with. I think that probably fits within the definition of curious, certainly fits within my definition of curious. And most of the reason that I keep coming back to live streaming, that I keep blogging, that I am now going deep on Facebook is it's the internet, it's technology, broadly speaking, that draws me to doing this. I've always been fascinated. I think it partly comes from my father with technology, especially computer technology, and I was able to pass on that interest to my 3 sons, two youngest sons are still very, very deeply involved in computers at the technical level. Of course, my older son uses all the technology, but he's not deep into the essence of it, the coding and all of that kind of thing, like my youngest two sons. And I have no daughters, but so I was able to pass along that interest in computers. And I maintain that interest today, and am just overwhelmed every day by the number of actions I can take that are related to technology. And I like to think that's going to keep me young. I'm 65 this year in August. I like to think that curiosity, that passion, that interest, that love for doing stuff related to technology, the internet, protocols, going to be talking in future shows about protocols on the internet, especially the Bitcoin protocol, because I became interested in that over a year ago, reading a work of philosophy written by Neil Flesher entitled Modern Chains, which you can receive from me in both audio form and written form with the permission of the author, Neil Flesher. If you give me your email, you've just got to go here. I'll show you. You've just got to go to this website, michaelheath.org, and then you would want to click on subscribe, and you can read this little message here. Let me make it a little bigger so you can see it. So you just go to this page, subscribe. If you subscribe and email me at mike@michaelheath.org, I'll email you back an audiobook and PDF file of Modern Chains for free. Modern Chains is authored by philosopher Neil Flesher. He's given me permission to share his work exclusively with my email subscribers. After you've read or listened to it, you'll want to buy some copies to give to loved ones. I promise. So, I am beginning to learn about protocols on the internet. Hey, I see that there's 2 people watching me on YouTube. Thanks for stopping your scroll. Feel free to comment there. I'm here to discuss, here to talk, here to hear your opinion, here to have a two-way live, but also talk about my own stream of consciousness on this Friday stream of consciousness. So continuing on with that, and as I said earlier, before my 2 viewers arrived, if you comment, I can see your comment here on StreamYard, and I promise to respond. Easy to do since I've only got 2 people to think about if they want to comment. So, like I said earlier, I'm starting to go deep on Facebook for the first time in my life. And the reason I haven't gone deep on it in the past is because when the internet spun up, and then it was can't remember the search engines before Google, but then when Google spun up, I was a very early adopter of Gmail, because they gave us a gigabyte of storage for the email, and I still have that Gmail account. And I became very, very interested in the new powers of communication that were granted to all of us by Google and by the internet. Since at the time I was the executive director of the Christian Civic League of Maine, and I was my job mostly was to persuade people in Maine or to take seriously the perspective on religion and politics of the century-old Christian Civic League of Maine. So with this new technology just arriving on the scene, I saw the possibilities. I started an email, and it all became history. It played out on the front pages of the newspapers of Maine and on the television news before newspapers and television news became totally irrelevant to everybody except for boomers. And so now what we have to work with, if we want to persuade, speaking of myself, what I have to work with if I want to persuade is what's left of the possibility of getting my message out through the big tech platforms like YouTube and X and Facebook. And so I dove into the deep end of the pond with X about a year and a half ago because Musk bought the company and made a pledge to bring Trump back after he got thrown off by Jack Dorsey. And I thought, well, look at this. But back to the reason I never dove into Facebook. I felt like it was a psyop from the beginning because you only get to have 6 friends in your life. And here comes this powerful new technology that's obviously for marketing reasons using the word friend to describe viewers, really, to describe people you're not going to be friends with, people who are, good, bad people, whatever, they're just people. And they're creating a platform using the word friend in order to create trust, in order to get people to trust the platform and give them their data. And then as I watched Facebook mature, I noticed that it was doubling and tripling and quadrupling down on being on doing social engineering. And so I just kind of stayed out of it, and I didn't want to spend time learning the different notifications and settings and all that stuff in there to secure my privacy and then keep track of all the different groups and say the right thing to this group and the right thing to that group, and pretend that there was any kind of privacy baked in to Facebook. But anyway, I always felt back at the time that if Facebook were to be honest, it's a newspaper whose publisher is yourself, your own identity, who you are. It's a public platform for public information, not a platform for creating friendships and nurturing friendships and building friendships. You do that both online and in real life. That's how you create friends over a lifetime, is in both places. You try to do it in one place and not the other, it doesn't work nowadays because you just become sort of you just handicap yourself in terms of knowledge and everything else if you're not checking email or getting texts or using a telephone. I mean, communications technology is an essential ingredient to life right now. Now, there's some people who feel very strongly that we ought to reject the smartphone and the internet, and I say more power to the folks who feel that way. I don't happen to feel that way. I happen to believe that we, humanity, is going to rein this in. We are going to win World War III, which started in 2020 and continues apace, moving toward 2030. The battle space is social media. It is the internet, and we are going to win. It doesn't feel that way right now. It's 2026, and as a shock to me, the leader who became the most potent force bringing about the surveillance state and the breach of our individual sovereignty and our privacy is Donald Trump. That became clear after his second inauguration, and that's why I speak out on X and Facebook with such a boldness against Donald Trump right now, because he, just like he did during 2020, he's made himself the leader of hell. It's like he's vying to take Satan's place over hell, because during 2020 he was the warp speed guy with the vaccines that were anyway. I'm on YouTube. I guess I should stop there. And then after his inauguration, of course, he announced he surrounded himself with the big tech Epstein class, and here we are with me on YouTube saying things that at some point probably will get the FBI over for a second visit, but I hope so. I'm going to continue until I die to tell the truth, and I'm going to do it everywhere I can. And so now I'm jumping into the deep end of the pool on Facebook. So I want to talk a little bit about that in the remaining 15 minutes that we've got this morning. So this is my profile page, and I have this post pinned, and it's something I published on the 24th recently. First time I've tried this, and I don't have many friends. I haven't been using Facebook, like I say, for in a deep sort of way. I did do so with X, and then until the algorithm throttled me, and then I kind of backed off a little bit, and now I'm back to posting frequently on X, and I'm also going to be posting frequently on Facebook, like I always have, using the internet, thinking of what I'm posting as content appropriate for public consumption. It's the news and opinion from Michael Stewart Heath. It's my identity being projected into the world, the parts of my identity that I'm comfortable putting out to the entire planet. And one of the things that is fresh with my content is that I am going to be commenting and creating content that is aimed at more local issues. And so I live in Chelsea, Maine, and this artificial intelligence manipulated image, this Grinchified image, was taken. It's from a LinkedIn profile, and it's taken in front of our town office. So let me just read this post to you. Here's an AI Grinchified LinkedIn profile image of Christine Landis, the town manager of Chelsea, Maine. She is spearheading an effort to rob the village's taxpayers of the benefit of a recent election related to building a new town office. So I've since learned from talking to Jake Susi, who is one of 3 selectmen, that the town is not pondering building a new town office now, but is pondering spending a considerable amount of money to expand and renovate the existing town office. The rumor mill has it that the village is benefiting from the sale of an asset that will then be wasted on this pet project against the wishes of the town. This was the sale of a cell phone tower, I think, something like that. Don't quote me, but $900,000. I guess that's what her recent pay increase into the 6-figure stratosphere is buying for the tiny town's safety cult that forces local citizens to buzz into a tiny aisle that provides hermetically sealed protection, 2020 style, for the only remaining essential office workers in Chelsea. All women must be nice to have a job. Boy, there's a lot there to unpack, isn't there? So the talked about the asset. So when I considered getting on a budget committee, but upon meeting her and only speaking with her for less than a minute, I realized that this wasn't going to be a good fit, and I was signing up for for a battle I wasn't ready for then. And I learned at that time that the town was going to be asked to grant her a raise into six figures. She was already in the 90s, $90,000. And Chelsea's a tiny town. I don't, as a tax-paying citizen of Chelsea, I don't see the justification for that amount of money being paid to anyone, frankly. And so I decided not to serve on the budget committee because I just didn't know enough. And when I decided to do this post, I did a little grokking and discovered that Chelsea has hidden the payroll for the staff in the town office. I think there's at least five or so people who work in the town office, and it's my opinion that the public servants, public employees like this should have their salary and benefits published publicly. You know, I'm sick to death of all of the accountability going one way, which is back to the governments. We're installing cameras. We all know that Facebook, X, everything we do on the internet is being saved. Our phone calls on our phones are being saved by the government. We're all being surveilled, and we're all sick to death of it. We hate it. We hate it, not just me. We hate this. And what should be happening is people like Christine Landis and her staff need to be extremely public. We need to expect all data related to expenditures and money to be public information for our municipalities, our state, and our national government. This whole idea that we're going to manipulate justice in order to protect the Epstein class, or it's got to end. And the only way it's going to end is if I do something about it. And if you join me in doing something about it. So what can we do? Well, what I'm going to do is, going back to Facebook here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to support this guy, Jake Susi. He's one of the 3 selectmen. So I'm voting for Jake Susi on June 9th, unless one of you can convince me to do otherwise. I spoke with him on the phone yesterday, never met him in real life. Go to my YouTube page for more. So referencing this video where I'm giving my reasoning for supporting Jake. So he's the only selectman that's up for a vote this year. They do, I think they do 3-year terms, and there's a different one up every year. So he's up this year, and I'm leaning hard toward supporting him. I talked to him on the phone yesterday, and it was a very interesting phone conversation. My wife and I really meshed. My wife grew up in Chelsea, and there was just a sort of local vibe to our phone conversation. But one of the things I said to him, which I'm really disappointed in myself for saying, because he didn't ask me to not talk about what I'm talking about now. I offered to kind of help him behind the scenes, sort of thing, because I had this. You'll have to pray for me. I'm psychologically harmed by the life I've lived, standing up for 20 years and defending the timeless Christian moral teachings on marriage and family and life in the womb, and then suffering the slings and arrows, which I should have been better prepared for. And so I know that I think that I shouldn't think the way I do about relationships like one with a selectman who I've never met. And so Jake didn't ask me to help him on the internet, and have there be no public connection between the two of us. but the reason I said this is I didn't want to hurt. I didn't want to hurt his chances. And again, nobody knows who I am. It's been like almost 20 years since I was at the Christian Civic League, and most people didn't even think about the Christian Civic League of Maine back then. The only thing they thought about was on voting day whether they should vote for or against gay rights, and they probably heard me in a news clip or something, and they said, "Yeah, I like that argument. I like that point, or whatever." I'm not comfortable with this anyway, so they would vote, and they would vote with us. But it kind of went to my head, the victories. We had multiple victories in statewide voting on a controversial, tough moral issue, and it went to my head a little too much. And so you can, as I said, you can pray for me as I continue to mature in my faith and with my countenance. So Jake is on the ballot June 9th. And what can you do to help? You don't live in Chelsea. You can't vote for Jake Susi. By the way, he's the only select board member who is bringing accountability to on these issues. He's asking tough questions. He's he's the only vote, that kind of thing, the lone vote. So I'm going to throw my support to him by helping him online. I told him I hate meetings. And I really do always have. That wasn't my strong suit when I was a lobbyist in the legislature. I never wanted to stand up and never looked for opportunities to stand up and speak at hearings or to put myself in the limelight, in the spotlight. I always was most comfortable working as a lobbyist behind the scenes, doing the best I could. But so I'm going to help him by doing this kind of thing. I'm going to send him the link to this video, encourage him, and I look forward to helping him achieve his goals, which is to represent all the people of Chelsea, all the voters, all the citizens of Chelsea, without fear or favor, and create and manage the most efficient government possible. So, listen, if you're seeing this on archive and you've watched it and stayed to the end, and you want to participate live, or you know somebody who would benefit from entering into a conversation with me live on YouTube, please share the link. And I'll be back here tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. and Sunday morning at 6 a.m., 7 days a week, going live, looking for an opportunity to converse, and also doing what I've done here, which is offer some of my own thoughts and some maybe some teaching, some encouragement, some inspiration that comes from the honest views of a Mainer who's been on Earth for 65 years. So what else do we have here that I wanted to talk about? Let me just mention once again as we move to the end of the show, my website and the email subscription. So if you give me your email address, it's no charge. You get $50 worth of value so that you can think about the protocol, the technology protocol that we all think of as, we all know as Bitcoin, but we don't think of it as a protocol. So it's really helpful, especially if you're interested in technology, it's really helpful to think of it in those terms. And you can join me in the exploration. In fact, I will be at the coffee shop. Can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but I will be at the coffee shop in Augusta, just below St. Augustine's Church, on Monday morning at 6:15. If you want to come, I'm sorry, at 8:15, from 8:15 to 9 o'clock every Monday morning, I'll be at is it Sandhill Bagel, I think, Tomorrow morning, I'll be sure to put up the website, the webpage for that event. So that's Monday morning at 8:15, from 8:15 to 9. I'll be there upstairs, and we can talk about all things. We can talk about whatever you want, but the reason I'm doing it every week is to talk about decentralized Maine, to talk about the importance in technology and in real life of decentralization, which is what we need in technology to protect and maintain our identities and our sovereignty. So if you're interested in that topic, I would love to meet you at Sandhill Bagel Monday morning at 8:15. And we've done well this morning. Starting to feel a little bit of wind in my sails. God bless you. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.